Hello, welcome to Breaking Free and Owning Me. It is your host and coach, Stephanie O'Brien Martin. I am excited to tune in with you today and thank you for checking out the new show. Today's guest, her name is Julie. Actually, she's our caller today. And this is a really, honestly, all of my calls are powerful, but this one really, the issues that were brought forth were focusing a lot on trust issues, how we have made decisions in our past that really has caused us to feel like we have betrayed ourselves. And I explore this with Julie on the call about what caused her to make the decisions that she has made in her past, kind of ignoring a gut feeling or an inkling or like a gut check or her intuition or the guidance from the Holy Spirit maybe that you just didn't realize was present at the moment. I coached her through what was going on in those moments in her past so she can move through those and reconcile that, and then moving forward, know how to recognize what she's leading from. What we discover is that she was leading from a place of insecurity, and that word security was a really big word for her. It was her word for the year. So without giving too much away, I want to dive right into the call with Julie. Welcome to the show, Julie. It is such a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you.
Question?
What's my question?
Yes.
I am educated and talented, and yet I still find myself unable to make a decent living. And so I'm thinking that because I have the skills, it must be some kind of mindset issue that's keeping me from being successful financially.
Okay. And how long have you been struggling with making a decent living?
This is embarrassing, but 13 years.
Okay. 13 years. And what were you doing before 13 years ago?
I was a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, and then my husband left me. So I was court ordered to get a job. My children I had 5 children. They were ages 4 to 9 at the time. And I had been out of the workforce for a decade.
Okay. And you were content?
It was my dream job. It's what I always wanted to be, a homeschooling mom. And then it got all ripped apart.
Okay.
I was resentful.
Yeah. Now, I know more about your story because we've talked before. And you, with everything falling apart, you've gotten some healing from that through counseling, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The forgiveness part.
Yeah. Okay. But there still seems to, when it comes to working, is it that you can't find a job, or that you would prefer to work on your own and it's hard to successfully do that?
Well, because my kids were so young, I couldn't find a job that could pay for childcare for that many kids. So I decided to go the entrepreneurial route. I looked at my skills and went into house painting. So I did that. I'm still doing that. So then when the kids were older and they were all in school and more established, I did get a job, a regular 8-to-5 job. And it was hard because I really wanted to be there for my kids. The reason I left that because I liked the work was there was a lack of integrity at the place. And I just really missed the flexibility of being independent so I could be there for my kids.
Okay. And are your kids now all grown and out of the house?
The three oldest are out of the house. The twins are juniors in high school.
Okay. Okay. And so you're painting, like house painting, or like painting pictures, like art?
Interior house painting.
Okay. And are you enjoying that?
Oh my, no. It was always okay. I enjoy the work. It was kind of mindless. Podcasts helped tremendously. And then I also had opportunities to do some interior decorating and faux finishes and things like that, murals, which added some spice to it. It's also very physical, and I don't enjoy that so much anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that takes a toll on you after a while.
Yeah.
So what would you love to be doing right now? Or is the struggle because you loved being a stay-at-home mom and that was ripped away from you, and you were happy that was like your dream job, and then all of that change was turned upside down and you just don't even want to have to figure it out?
That's part of it. I'm angry that I have to work. I'm angry that the state won't make him support me. I'm frustrated with God for a long time.
Yeah.
Still, I think sometimes a little bit of victim mentality, like this was forced upon me. I didn't make this happen. All of that kind of mixed. So I do have a lot of talents and I enjoy doing lots of things. The pressure to have to make money from doing those things kind of stops my creativity and my energy. And also, I'm kind of flaky in that I don't like to stick with one thing very long. I like variety. So I guess it's a combination of my situation and how I viewed it, and also my natural tendency to not want to be in a single path. I like variety.
Okay, and have you always been that way?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to ask that question. The reason I asked that was to make sure that that's really a true nature and not rooted in, I mean, because you were married and your world was ripped apart and turned upside down, that like sometimes a fear of commitment can creep in. And so we never want to like stay committed to one thing because you're afraid of really falling in love with something again and it get ripped apart from you.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think that's a big part of it.
Okay. Yeah. And that's why, because if you've always been that way from childhood or, you know, even before marriage, then it's more of a nature thing and not like a self-preservation type of behavior. Okay. So how you've had a traditional job before, you said, but there was, so what happened? You said they lacked integrity there. Does that come up a lot in your life?
Oh, yeah. Which I'm glad we're exploring this, because sometimes I think there must be something wrong with me that I run across all these people who don't do what they say they're going to do. I have that as a school board member. I had that with my ex-husband. I had that with my ex-best friend. I had it at work. It really irritates me.
Mm-hmm. And have you, I don't know if you've ran into this yet, have you attracted customers that do that too, that don't want to pay on time or follow the agreed terms? Or
I've only had that a handful of times. That has not been a big issue.
okay.
But it's funny that you say that, because the one that was really bad, I just had an inkling, but I needed the money. He offered this huge job. I said, okay, I can work with him. Oh, it didn't go well at all.
Okay. Did you have an inkling with the other times?
Yes, I even had an inkling with my ex-husband, and I thought once we get married and we have that commitment, yeah, this is triggering something.
Oh.
It's like, I don't pay attention to my gut because isn't my head supposed to make the wise choice? You know, and my head said, he's a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to marry me, so he wants to be committed. And at work, it's like they were Christians too. And they say they wanted to hire me. So of course it's going to work out because we're both Christians and we'll make it work. And it didn't.
Yeah. And, you know, Christians are broken people too. So what are the tears?
Well, I cry over any strong emotion. So it's not necessarily sad. It could be happy. It could be whatever.
What are you feeling right now?
I think I'm feeling that I betrayed myself in that I knew and I said no. I pushed that intuition down when actually I could have saved myself a whole lot of pain if I just listened to myself and not discrediting the Holy Spirit, because I'm sure the Holy Spirit tries to get a hold of me too. But a combination of that, the flags were there and I just went ahead anyway.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring tissues over here. Can I come?
Sorry, I have boxes right here. I want to hand them to you.
Okay.
So
but then that brings up trust issues because I so desperately wanted to be married. I was 29 and finally someone loved me. So I quashed that intuition because I didn't want to be alone. The same at work. I quashed the intuition because I really needed that job.
Yeah.
So it's partly a faith and trust thing too.
It's a security thing. There's a security in, I mean, at least this is what my gut is saying, or intuition. Like, it's an insecurity. Like when you get married, there's like a security that there's somebody with you. Like there's a covering in a partnership, in companionship, and also helping pay the bills in a healthy, balanced marriage. But that, you know, we know how that can work out. Like it's not always that case. And then when we take jobs because we need the money, like we're wanting to feel secure. And because your sense of security and safety is rocked, it's like you're leading with that need over coming grounded and trusting and intuition.
It's funny that you say that because that is my word, security, because I'm looking for financial security.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know what the Bible says. I know I'm worth more than many sparrows. Mm-hmm. And yet I can't make that leap.
You can, and you will.
I have been unable to.
Yeah, you've been challenged, not really knowing what was going on, and it's hard to really be I always say this: it's hard to be objective when you're the subject.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't see it. I am a coach that I'm working with another coach myself, and it's like I help people through this all day long, and I can't see it in my own self. So there's no shame in it. It's okay, yeah. And a lot of Christians will really beat themselves up really hard on this. When it's like, well, I read the Bible, I know what it says, I have a relationship with Christ, but I just can't seem to walk in this. And there's like a really almost brutal way, like they're really hard on themselves. So I just want to encourage you, like, I coach a lot of Christians, and this is a common issue. We're all in need of healing. So I just wanted to encourage you with that. I want to go back to exploring what you just said, the trust. My gathering from what you said is, and you'll probably agree, is that you don't trust yourself.
I don't trust myself to do what?
Well,
or I don't trust my own intuition, you're saying?
Well, yes, because of the choices you've made before, like suppressing your intuition or knowing there's an inkling and dismissing it because you led with this, it was more of a fear-based, insecurity-based decision rather than a very grounded decision in a position of trust or slowing down to explore with God why you're having those feelings. And you didn't know at the time, but what I see is that when people let themselves down, they don't trust themselves.
So that could be why I'm feeling stuck, because I'm getting emotional again. I'm waiting for God to show me. Just show me, because I don't want to step in the wrong place. Just show me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust myself to take the right path. I don't trust that I'm hearing his voice, even though he says, my sheep hear my voice. And I say, no, I'm not hearing it.
Right, because there's the wound there. The wound is there. From that wounded place, it's like it's the second guessing, and you do hear it. It's just, it's so crowded out by all this other stuff. He is speaking, he is guiding, he is leading. But
and sometimes I think he wants to lead me in a good place, and I'm afraid that sounds too good to be true.
Like what is a good place?
Like to have my own business, because sometimes I think I'm not a good business manager, and sometimes I think I'm too lazy, and yet sometimes I think that that's where I'm supposed to go, and it sounds really good.
What sounds good about it?
That I would have the freedom to be flexible for my children, which has always been number one. That I would have some financial security, so I could pay off my mortgage and have that kind of freedom. That I could control. That I could control the projects that I want to do and help people that way, and not be in a job where you have to do the same thing every day, which would kill my spirit. I think I get the inkling that he wants my spirit to enjoy what I do.
Yeah. How does that feel when you...
Well, then sometimes I feel I'm like, you owe me, or I deserve it, to I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. It's like they're battling in my head.
Yes. I created a course called Mindset Mastery or Mastering Your Mind, something of your mindset. And I address that in this program, where it's like the evil twin. Like they'll show up and they have evil twins. Like an entitlement mentality of I'm owed this, I deserve this, also comes up with I'm not worthy. Like, and they're like they're partners, and it's like this inner battle. What other ones? There's a scarcity mentality. Yeah, there's a bunch, but that not worthy and the entitlement one come up a lot within the same person in the same mind, and it's like this conversation you have in your head, this battle of what one is going to win, and you really don't want either of them to win.
True.
There is the grounding and reality of you are worthy. We want that one to win. You are worthy, but I'm owed this is a different way of looking at it. And I'm owed this usually comes from that victim mentality of I've been victimized in some way, and so I'm owed blah blah blah, whatever you want to phrase it. And then the worthiness, that's insecurity, usually because of the victim. Because of the victim mentality and just some injustices that happen in your life. You may partner with the lie that you somehow deserve that. It's like the deserving of good things, the unworthiness comes like I deserve bad things to happen to me. I don't deserve good things to happen to me. And it blocks you. It stops you from doing the work and taking the steps to break free of that. But you can be. And so
Okay.
all of this is coming to the light for a reason. So let's go back to freedom. I hear it loud and clear. You really value the freedom yep. And flexibility. It's a big value of yours to be there for your children. You've said that consistently, so that's very clear. Thank you for listening to part 1 of my call with Julie. Make sure you tune in to the next episode where I finish out my call with Julie to explore further on triggers and mindsets and identifying maybe limiting beliefs or false ways of thinking so that she can transform new ways of thinking, new ways of being, new ways of living, so that she can get that financial security and start flowing from a place of love and trust in herself, in God, and in the good things that God has for her. To review what we talked about so far in this call, as I mentioned in the intro, and as you heard once again through the coaching process, Julie got triggered with emotion as she identified this feeling that she believed she betrayed herself in certain past moments. And as we identified further that there was a pattern of these people that lacked integrity showing up, specifically Christians, that's a really significant wound when you encounter other Christians or other believers and you trust them just because they're a believer or just because they're Christian, and then get deeply hurt and wounded by them. And so I encouraged her, just kind of sat with her, shared that space with her, and encouraged her, Christians are wounded people. And as she was identifying the habit of just dismissing inklings that she was getting, and how she led from her headspace instead of her heart space. Really, her headspace was, this is a big, even from a business, I don't know if it was an account or something, there was a business transaction that she was able to get that was rather large with another Christian. And she just told herself because he was a Christian, he was going to have integrity. Just like she told herself that because her ex-husband was a Christian, he was ready to commit and have integrity. Well, it turns out that he didn't. He was not ready to commit. He had an affair. He left her and her 4 children to really fend for themselves. And, the business accounts or the people that she worked with in a job, like this kept coming up. And one of the things was like, it was security of I wanted to get married and feel like a sense of security with that. So she ignored that inkling and married this guy anyway. Same thing with this business transaction. She needed the money. It was a large amount of money. And then it was a disaster. It didn't turn out. And I don't know the details of that, but it just wasn't good. So this pattern kept playing out. So if you find yourself so far in the show identifying with these triggers yourself, maybe you feel like you've betrayed your own trust in your own self, or you find that you lead with your head more than with your heart, or you don't know how to tune in and slow down and really pay attention. What's guiding me? Here's my encouragement to you. The next time you get a gut feeling, I want you to slow down and make no decisions and no commitments until you've really slowed down. And I want you to journal or pray and ask God for the revelation of why there is a warning. Why do you feel uneasy about this? What is going on? Explore it a little bit and be willing to explore it. Just because somebody's a believer or an appearance of something doesn't mean that everything is going to turn out right. Appearances are extremely deceiving and can lead us into a bad place if we are not paying attention to that gut feeling. Your gut or intuition or inklings are really great to pay attention to. So I encourage you, next time you get a gut feeling or some kind of uneasiness or internal unrest, slow down and really explore it. It may not always be like a warning to protect you. It may be rooted in fear and triggers, when it's actually a good thing, but I'll go into that more on a different time, because there are different things. But the key is what's leading you to make your decisions. Make sure you are leading from a place of grounded truth, and being guided by God to really help lead you into a full life rather than fear. With Julie's case, she actually was ignoring those gut feelings that could have protected her because she was leading from a place of fear. And your head knowledge, your ego, your psychology, your ego is meant to protect you and keep you safe, even though it doesn't. It really doesn't. because she was leading from that place of getting her immediate needs met, which logically from the brain standpoint makes a lot of sense. But we are more than a body and a brain. We are more than just an emotional being, and we are more than just a spiritual being. There are three. We are a 3-in-1 being. We have a mind, we live in a body, and we are a spirit. And there are spiritual components to us, emotional components to us, and then there are physical components to us. So we all are three. There's multi-dimensions going on about us. So it is very important to be aware of all three of those dimensions of us so that we can walk out of those spaces. So in this case, Julie went straight for what her brain or ego was telling her to do, when really maybe her spirit was saying, red flag, red flag. So in this exercise, I want you to continue paying attention to those gut feelings and those inklings. Journal. Ask yourself the question, am I coming from a place of fear? Is this answer because of fear? And you'll know that it's fear when it's rooted in trying to make you more secure. Like, oh, well, okay, I will make more money this way, or a sense of relief. I'll finally get what I want and have been wanting for so long. And sometimes that is the answer, but sometimes it's not. Just make sure it is not a striving answer or a trying to get security because I'm afraid answer. So that's your exercise for this call. Tune in to the rest of the call for Julie to continue as we continue unpacking some of these habits that she's had, so she could finally break free and own who she is, who God uniquely designed her to be, so she could get out there, live successfully, live authentically, and get what it is that she deeply desires. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you all next time.